Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out the range with a new product from Primary Arms, and it's this little guy right here. This is the HTX-1. It's a American-made red dot sight made right here in the United States, in the great state of Texas, and it is brought to us again by Primary Arms. Now, what's interesting about this is it uses a different type of mounting system, a mounting system that allows it to set so low that with factory regular profile sights, you'll easily be able to co-witness with existing mount cuts. And that would be RMR Type A, RMR Type B, and then also the Glock MOS system. Those are the available mounting plates currently for the HTX-1, but we'll get more into that in today's video. But if you take a look at this thing, it has a very interesting profile. And we'll talk about the lens size, how low it sets, and we'll compare it to the Aimpoint COA, which is a really popular red dot sight right now. And we'll talk about the differences between how the COA mounts and how this mounts, and why this is a little bit more interesting to me in terms of being backwards compatible with existing guns that are out there on the market. It doesn't require its own proprietary cut. Now, I should also mention that Primary Arms obviously sponsors this channel. That's why the logo is down in the corner. I've been shooting it for several months now, and I've been able to come up with an opinion on it. So let's take a closer look at the HTX-1 from Primary Arms. A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below. So in case you're wondering, the handgun that I have the sight mounted to is a Springfield Echelon. It's a 9mm polymer frame striker fired pistol. I really like the handgun. It has a very neutral grip angle for me, where guns like the Glock tend to point a little bit high and I have to cock my wrist to come down. I like guns like this that are a little bit more neutral in that grip angle because the dot presents itself perfectly for me. With Glocks, I don't shoot them as much anymore. I find myself not finding the dot, cocking my wrist down to be able to find it. But with the Vulcan reticle, that makes it a whole lot easier. Anyway, with that being said, let's do a quick demonstration of the sight's ability to maintain zero. I have some 115 grain ball from Federal loaded into the magazine. I want to thank our friends at Federal for supplying the ammunition free of charge to the channel. I've been shooting this ammunition since I was a kid. Great company, great ammo, love this stuff. So let's go ahead and fire off a couple of shots here. All right, so 2 shots. I'm going to go ahead and clear the weapon out. Gun's clear. I'm going to go ahead and put the round that I took out of the chamber back into the magazine. All right, gun's clear. And we'll just come to this tree. You can see where we've been beating on it and hit it at angles, knock some wood off there. And seems like the sight holds up pretty well. The anodization. Come back over. Leave it to me to throw one off to the right there. But yeah, it holds up just fine. So let's quickly go over some of the features of the HTX-1. Before we get started, I want to point out the weapon is empty. There's no magazine in the grip. Slide is locked to the rear, and there's nothing in the chamber. So as I've already pointed out, this is a USA-made sight, made right in the great state of Texas. And the price point is going to reflect the American-made construction, because anything that's made here in the United States is going to cost more than something that's made in Asia or someplace else. And so the price is going to be right around $649. And so the price is up there, but it is a premium optic. It is going to be competitive with the Aimpoints of the world and the Trijicons of the world. The housing on this is 7075 T6 aluminum, and it is Type 2 hard coat anodized black. And so it's a very robust housing, very beefy, has reinforcements in all the right spots. If you look at the front, you'll notice the front lens is set back into the cabinet, has these sides that come down that protect it. So if you're moving through a doorway and you're moving forward, or you push the gun out and you hit something, you're not going to hit that lens. It's going to hit the housing first. So it's very well thought out. The glass on this is multi-coated glass, and it's anti-reflective, and that basically is going to give you zero color shift. If you take a look at early MRO Trijicon sights, for example, they had kind of a green tinge when you looked through them, and that's kind of some color shift that's due to the coatings that are used on those early lenses. You're not going to find that with the HTX-1. It's very clear, no color shift whatsoever, and again, just a very sharp, clear image that you're going to see. The mounting system is what really makes this thing shine. The mounting system is a patent-pending chassis system, and by chassis I mean you have existing cuts to your slide, so it's compatible with RMR Type A, Type B, and MOS Glock mounting systems. So the plate mounts to the existing cut. You don't need a proprietary or special cut. And then the plate itself connects itself to the red dot sight. And there's 4 screws holding the plate to the sight, 2 screws holding the plate to the slide. And so it's very, very well attached. You have these little wings that come up on the side, 2 screws go through that, 1 on either side. And then in the front, you have 2 more screws that hold the front down. So you are not going to get this red dot sight to move under recoil or beating it around, dropping it and things like that. You also have the, I should also mention, because of that mount, it is co-witness, right? So that's what's really, really stand out about the HTX-1 is it's set so low with existing cuts, doesn't require that proprietary cut, that with standard factory sights like on the MOS system and a standard factory Glock sight, you're going to get full co-witness. You're not just going to have that 1/64th like you see through the COA, for example, the Aimpoint collaboration effort with Glock, where the sights are just barely visible. No, you're going to have full visibility of that lower 1/3 co-witness with factory sights. So that is something that truly makes this thing stand out. The buttons on the side are very simple, and they are just on, off, and then brightness settings. You have 12 settings, and 3 of those are night vision settings. So it's plenty bright enough in daylight settings like today, and it's going to work just fine if you run nods. And the reticle, I should also point out, is the Vulcan reticle, which is very neat. It has a 4 MOA dot in the center, and then it has an outer ring. Think of like a EOTech, except the ring is much larger, like 240 MOA or something like that. It's this big, huge perforated ring on the outside. And so if you bring the weapon up and you present, you don't see your dot, but you see the circle on one side or the other, you're going to know intuitively that you need to move the gun left, right, up, or down to get that dot within your field of view. It works extremely well for people that are brand new to using red dot sights on their handguns. But even for experienced folks like myself, I really like the Vulcan reticle. It's very handy, and it would be indispensable in a life or death type situation. If for whatever reason you're just amped up and you can't find that dot, it's going to help you to be able to do that. It has auto alive technology that helps conserve that battery life. The battery is a CR2032 battery. It will give you anywhere between 10,000 and 25,000 hours of battery life. And that, again, is based on how bright you have the dot set. So if you have it at its brightest setting, you're going to get 10,000 hours. If you have it at a medium setting, you're going to get 15 to 20,000 hours. And at the lowest setting, 25,000. So I already mentioned that it has the full multi-coated lenses, but that also is waterproof and shockproof. So you can go swimming with this thing and you can beat it on tables, and you're not going to have to worry about that zero shifting. And I've already talked about the 4 MOA reticle and the fact that it is just a red dot, not a green dot. Some of you folks like green dot sights. I'm not one of them. I strongly prefer red dots, but it's just a red dot. Perhaps down the road, they may offer it with a green reticle. And the weight, finally, is 1.74 ounces. So it's a fairly lightweight sight. It doesn't change the balance of the gun in your hand. I think it looks really sharp. If you take a look at the sight, it looks low profile. It doesn't look like the mailbox like you see on the COA. This is the new Aimpoint collaboration with Glock, and we'll do a little bit more of a comparison with the mounting systems in particular in the next segment. But I just wanted to show you that it sets extremely low. It doesn't look nearly as big. It's almost like the COA sets even taller than the earlier P1 and P2 Acros, but it doesn't. It sets very low, but not as low as the HTX-1. So let's do that comparison next. So the HTX-1 is a fully enclosed sight. And by that I mean, here's an early RMR on one of my 10mm 1911s, a Springfield. And this is an open emitter. So the emitter is right back here, and it's firing the dot up to the lens. And the downside to this is that if you get dirt, if you go to the ground and get dirt into it, sand, water, anything, it can disrupt that dot from being projected accurately or projected at all, and that's a downside. Now, a lot of folks will say, yeah, but it's not like you crawl around on the ground with your red dot sights, whatever. I've held since these first came out that enclosed sights were the future, that this was a nice starting point, but enclosed was the only way to go for any number of reasons. And people still fight with me on that, but these, and they're fine. There's nothing wrong with these, but for a defensive carry tool, I would trade one of these for a fully enclosed sight, and there's plenty of options on the market right now. One of the earliest fully enclosed sights you have here is the 509T Holosun, and that's on this Arex Delta pistol. And again, fully enclosed, but you can see how big it is, right? So they started off fairly big. They moved to the EPS carry. They've gotten smaller and smaller, but this is an example of an early fully enclosed sight. And a more modern competitive product would be the SIG Romeo series and the Romeo X. And this is a fully enclosed sight. It almost has a footprint similar to the RMR with the little shelf that comes out here on the back, but it is fully enclosed. So you're not going to get debris, sand, dirt, water, mud, blood, whatever inside of it. And that is truly beneficial, because if whatever reason you go to the dirt, you get mud on this, you just wipe off the front lens, wipe off the back lens with your fingers, and you can see through your sight. That's not something you're going to be able to do with an early RMR. All right, so now let's talk about the two sights I have here, and I believe these are direct competitors because they're coming to market at about the same time. So we have the HTX-1 from Primary Arms here, and this is the new Aimpoint COA, COA, and it's a collaborative effort with Glock. A lot of excitement about this, and I am a huge fan of Aimpoint. So everything I say from this point forward, folks, just know I'm not bagging on Aimpoint. I love Aimpoint. On my defensive rifles and things like that, Aimpoints have been go-to optics for me for years. They're indestructible and extremely well made. They set the bar really, really high. With that being said, I do think that the COA mount system is an improvement over existing mounts. It does increase the durability, if you will. So what happens is they've cut very deeply into the slide here. The sight sets down inside, so it has like a little dovetail in the front, comes down in the back. You have a ridge in there. It's going to keep it moving from side to side. And then you have your rear sight, which is holding the sight in place. Two screws. This rear sight gets screwed on. That clamps the red dot sight to the slide. And that's how it mounts. The downside to this is that it does not allow for a full lower third co-witness. I would say this is like 1/64th co-witness. You can just barely see the top of the blade through the sight on this. Now, a slightly taller sight would be great, but because the rear sight is screwed on, is not windage adjustable or elevation adjustable, and there's only one that I know of. There's two sights available, one for the 43X and guns like that, and then one for the full sight slide. So the smaller slide, the larger slide, and that's it. That's all it's in the owner's manual. So that's kind of a detractor in my view. I can't even drift that rear sight left and right to get it zeroed as a backup. And then of course it's very difficult to see. Now, with all that being said, this is a, it looks tall. If you see it next to the HTX-1, HTX-1 just looks lower profile. It doesn't sit as deeply in the side. It doesn't require as much material cut out of the slide, but yet it's going to give you a similar field of view. So you're not skimping on what you see through the lens of this. It's still a big, bright, open picture. And it may not look like it. It may look like this is squished a little bit, but it looks gigantic. So the benefit to this is it sets lower than the COA. It is compatible with existing cuts. It doesn't require a proprietary cut like the COA does. And so if you have an RMR Type A, Type B, or a CMOS system, because those are the plates that are currently available, they do have an M17, M18 plate, but for whatever reason on the website it says it's only available for law enforcement military. Don't understand that, but the three types of mounts that it works with right now are that Type A, Type B RMR, and then the MOS. So it works with the most popular, most common type of cuts that are out there, that being the RMR, and it just sets so beautifully low. Now, back to the Aimpoint. I'm sure this is going to be popular. Right now, they have an exclusive deal with Glock, and so you can only get them with a Glock, and these are very difficult to come by. The sights and the guns, the packages have really been hard for people to get their hands on. There's a big contract or something out there that are gobbling these things up, and then when they do hit the market, they sell very quickly. When they come into copper, these things are gone. They're off the wall instantly because people want them. And that's because, again, it's Aimpoint, it's high quality, it's Glock. Everybody loves Glock. And so the two together doing this collaborative effort, they're naturally going to sell a ton of these, okay? But if, and you're not going to go wrong with a COA system. It is outstanding. But if I have to put a red dot sight on an existing firearm, it's not a Glock collaborative effort. Again, these are not available. This COA system is not available for any other firearm at the moment until their exclusivity agreement is up with Glock. Right now, the best option would definitely be the HTX-1. Now, the prices are going to be very similar. Again, this is a premium optic, and I should also mention that the HTX-1 from Primary Arms has a lifetime warranty. So it's just like Aimpoint. You're going to get that backup, that reassurance that if something does go wrong, you have a lifetime warranty on the product. So I can't complain about the price. I know some of you guys are going to complain about the price. Everybody wants American made until they see the price tag, and then they go, well, suddenly they're fine with made overseas. If you truly want an American red dot sight that's made right here in the United States, I can't think of a better option out there. As a matter of fact, if you just want a red dot sight for a fighting handgun, I can't think of a better red dot sight out there. I really like this HTX-1. I like its mounting system. I like how low profile it is. I like the Vulcan reticle in it. The downside is it's perpetually out of stock, much like the COA and the Glock. But there's your comparison between the two. You're not going to go wrong with the Glock COA setup. It's an absolutely amazing setup. But as the market currently stands with the guns I currently have, if I'm looking for additional red dot sights and I don't want to go out and get my gun cut up to be proprietarily compatible with just that Aimpoint sight, I'm definitely going to take a look at the HTX-1. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video about the HTX-1 red dot sight from Primary Arms, the American-made red dot sight. I love the mounting system. I love how low profile it is. I love the Vulcan reticle system. It's just an outstanding red dot sight all the way around. What its defining feature is, though, is that chassis, modular chassis system that mounts it to existing RMR type footprints or CMOS. And again, that really makes it shine for me. And so it's compatible with a lot of guns that are already on the market. I'm sure Primary Arms is probably working on additional mounting plates. If you have any questions about the HTX-1, you can ask those questions down below. I try to stick around for the first couple of days after we post a new video to answer any questions you guys may have. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here on YouTube, you got the subscribe button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash that subscribe button. You can help support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Thank you for 17 years of support. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we will talk to you guys soon.